Poetry is a type of literature or artistic writing that attempts to stir a reader's imagination or emotions. The poet does this by carefully choosing and arranging language for its meaning, sound, and rhythm. Again, poetry is a type of literature or artistic writing that attempts to stir a reader's imagination or emotions. The poet does this by carefully choosing and arranging language for its meaning, sound, and rhythm. Now, I repeated that definition because I want you to remember some key words: literature, sound, and rhythm. Today, I'm here to inform my friends, family, and fellow students of COMM 110 about poetry. I will discuss further what poetry is, different examples of poetry throughout the ages, and how to create your own poem. Now let's get into it. First, let's discuss further what poetry is. Poetry is writing that formulates a concentrated, imaginative awareness of experience and language chosen and arranged to create a specific emotional response through meaning, sound, and rhythm. Merriam-Webster, Poetry 2024. Poetry is imaginative or creative literature in general. Oxford University Press, Poetry 2024. In each definition of poetry, literature, sound, and rhythm are often mentioned. When most people think about rhythm, they usually think about rhyme. However, not all poetry is written, not all poetry is oral, and not all poetry rhymes. I have just discussed my first main point, further what poetry is. Next, let's discuss different examples of poetry throughout the ages. So a classic example of a poem or piece of literature that is arguably the most famous poem in the world is Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare, published in 1609. Let me bring that up for you. There we go. Be wonky. Okay. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling bud of May, and summer's lease hath out all too short a date. Sometime too hot. The eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometimes declines. By chance or nature's changing course untrimmed, but thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou arts. Nor shall death break thou wanderest in his shade. When in eternal lines to time thou growst, so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life thee. William Shakespeare, Sonnet 18, Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer Day by William Shakespeare, 2024, poetryfoundation.org. Now, another well-known poem that is not written or spoken is Dandelion by Dr. Clayton Valli, published in 1991. Now, for this poem, it is glossed. Glossing refers to the use of English language to explain how to say ideas in ASL, or American Sign Language. Now, out of respect for American Sign Language and the deaf community, I will play you this poem, but I am not going to speak it for you.
Once everything's perfectly organized, I'll start working on my...
There we go. There we go. Okay. Now, another well-known poem with rhythm, but without rhyme, is The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams, published in 1938. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rainwater, besides the white chicken. William Carlos Williams, The Red Wheelbarrow, by William Carlos Williams in 2024, poets.org. Now, I have just discussed my second main point, which was different examples of poetry throughout the ages. Lastly, let's discuss how to create your own poem. So step 1, decide what you want to write. Step 2 is determine the best format for your topic. Step 3, explore words, rhymes, and rhythm. Step 4 is to write or create the poem, of course. And lastly, step 5 is edit what you've written or created. I have just discussed my third main point, how to create your own poem. Now I will demonstrate a poem that I wrote in less than 5 seconds. Look, I wrote a poem. Simple and sweet, short and cute. Look what I did, and what you can do too. See, it's that easy. So I've just discussed 3 main points. Further, what poetry is, different examples of poetry throughout the ages, and how to create your own poem. Poetry, an ancient Greek word meaning I create, is an art form in which human language is used for its aesthetic qualities in addition to, or instead of, its notional and semantic content. In other words, I create aesthetic hypothetical meaning with language to express. Thank you.